What is up, party people? Did you miss me? Welcome back to the Growing Beyond the Recipe Kitchen, aka my kitchen. Today we're going to be talking animal agriculture and pairing that with a banging sweet potato and black bean burger to really spice things up here. We're going to add a Ravensburger sauce, which is my very own recipe. Wait, before we do anything, the podcast, shameless plug, goes a little bit deeper into the actual statistics and effects of animal agriculture. Please head over to them and give them a listen. They are rock stars. And yeah, I would love to keep this conversation going. If you guys would like to reach us on all socials or in the comments or anything like that, that would be super dope too. This, my dear friends, is the star of the show. This is not mystery meat. So the proportions for this are 1 large sweet potato, 1 can of black beans, half a tube of silken tofu, some cashew cream, which is literally just cashews and hot water, and that's what we're going to be using for our sauce too. But you're just going to use like a little splash of it if you feel like your mixture is getting too dry when you do the food processing, and I recommend that you do it in a food processor, or else it's going to be too hard to mix it by hand. So when you get that together, basically what I did is I chopped up the sweet potatoes and then put it in the food processor and blitzed it a couple times. Then I put in my black beans and then I blitzed it all together, and then I noticed it was getting kind of hard, so I put some cashew cream. Then you put all your seasonings. That's salt, pepper, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, dill, cumin, and a little bit of cayenne. If you like heat, if you don't, omit it. Then this is cornstarch. Basically what this is going to do is keep your outside crispy and your inside really moist. It's going to keep it bouncy, because what I've noticed with a lot of vegan burgers, when I go places, the inside is dry. It crumbles, it falls apart, it's disgusting. This has not crumbled or failed me a single time. I've tested it, and I've tested it like 3 times now for all my feathery friends here. So you want to add just enough cornstarch so that it's still moist, but it comes together. Like I could just like pick this up, you see, and it could like crumble like that. Yeah, okay, so mix that together, and I'll see you on the flip side. To form a little patty, you're going to get like around this much, and it's like Play-Doh, right? You just kind of morph it, squish it down, and then I like to round out the corners so that you get perfect little crispy bites, and no side is weird. And so it's just going to look like a little, like almost like a sand dollar. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Or like a little cookie almost. And the thing I like about vegan cooking is that you can kind of taste as you go. Cornstarch isn't going to taste good, but if you want to adjust your seasonings, if you want to make something saltier to your taste or anything like that, please do so, because you can just kind of, yeah. So I think it's kind of an interesting time to be talking about this video too, with the 4th of July coming around the corner. By the way, July 4th is such a strange concept that we could have, I think, 100 videos on. But I think for today, we're just going to say we hope everybody manages with their families, especially as an activist. We hope 4th of July passes fairly painlessly for you. But that being said, have you seen grill ads recently? They're so weird, dude. The concept of steak, right, and salad and manliness, and how people who eat steaks are somehow better connected to their masculinity is such a weird concept for me, because it's weird that we as a nation have become so fragile with our identities and so lost in this idea of who we are that we have allowed what we literally put behind our lips to define masculinity. We have become broken, guys. With that, though, there's also a weird classism and xenophobia we have to talk about. Like, meats, not all meats were made equal, and we don't value all meats the same way either here in America. It's a different conversation completely to examine the structures of racism and how they're built into the food that we eat and the recipes that get passed down. And one that hopefully we will get to examine later, because that's a really important conversation. But for now, I want to examine just kind of from an Asian standpoint how xenophobia has affected the animal agricultural systems. Like, we kind of view steaks as the holy grail here, right? Like, if you have a really good cut of meat, you don't need anything on it other than salt and pepper, and cheaper cuts of meat deserve more seasoning to mask kind of the taste of cheaper meat. And so people get away with not seasoning their food by using the classist argument that a more marbled steak makes for a better taste in thy mouth. Cuts that immigrants use and refugees use, such as, ones that use the entirety of the animal, such as, tripe, stomach, head, any of that is seen as gross. It's seen as foreign, exotic. When it's incorporated in high-level cooking, it's seen as, brave choices and things like this. And the only food that's truly given respect, I guess I'll say, again, steaks. Everything that people of color use falls to the bottom. Once again, not surprised. Let's talk the judgment that comes around giving up meat. There is one phrase that I think haunts all vegans, and it's, where do you get your protein from? And there are whole cultures that don't eat meat, such as Indian Hinduism or, Buddhism, any of those. I don't think that they're deficient in any type of way. It's also a misconception that vitamins only can come from animals, by the way, because the vitamins that come from animals originally came from soil and water. Vitamins such as B12, which famously vegans don't get a lot of because it comes from, or is known to come from, things like salmon and things like that. Humans and animals both were able to get that from soil and water before we started using pesticides, before we industrialized murder, as I like to call it. And now farmers actually have to give their animals B12 supplements in order to produce that in their bodies, because they can't get that from dirt anymore because pesticides have ruined their food systems too, which is very sad to think about. And all these things we didn't even grow up learning because the meat industry has made it completely inaccessible to get any of this information. And food is food. At the end of the day, food is meant to nourish you and food is meant to make you feel good. Animal products make you feel shittier. It messes with your blood, it messes with your performance, it messes with everything. But we have it in our heads that meat is somehow this savior that's going to give us superhuman powers. And I think the hardest part going vegan, especially at grills and barbecues and things like this, is dealing with family judgment and from families and friends. And I think the most important thing is just remembering why you did it. Be that environmental reasons, health reasons, anything like that. You did it for your own reason and nobody can take that away from you, It does become difficult when things become confrontational, especially at family events, because you feel like you're dumbing down your beliefs to make it more digestible for other people, I guess. You shouldn't have to compromise on what you believe in, although I know that you don't want to come off as the angry vegan. There's a healthy balance there. It just becomes complicated when there's family involved and people that you're connected to. We were brought into this system, born into these structures, so it's difficult to break free, but we got to change the course of where we are, right? And it can be kind of triggering to be surrounded by all these animal products, especially me. I know that when I go to a barbecue and I see a steak on the grill, the first thought for me isn't that it's food, right? The first thought is that's a living thing that died and it's sitting on somebody's plate right now. But that's not how other people view it. And so I think we have to kind of operate with more empathy than we were given as vegans. And I think that's the golden rule for us. And that's how we make the world go round. But, your beliefs are your beliefs. And again, nobody can take that away from you. So the stuff that's going in my burger today, I'm partial to pickles, love them. Also, my family doesn't like raw onions, but I do. I love a good old slice there. If I had tomatoes, I would use them, but unfortunately, I did an oops and it slipped my mind. This would be really good with arugula, spinach, any type of green you have, just make sure so you have some kind of acidity on there. Today we're going to be using lettuce because my family has the palate of 5-year-olds and lettuce is all they know. And let's talk sauce. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Everybody give it up for Miss Girl. Look at her doing her best out here. This is the cashew cream that I was talking about. And I mixed that with ketchup, mustard, chopped up some pickles and the pickle juice, and then a splash of vegan sriracha. That's like a little kick. If you don't have that, just do cayenne and a little bit of apple cider vinegar, or cayenne and a little bit of that pickle juice. They'll come together just the same. Make sure if you're doing the cayenne apple cider vinegar mix that you add a splash of soy sauce. or the Bragg's amino acids, just for, again, a little bit of that umami taste that you would be missing. And again, just taste as you go because I don't use measurements. The ancestors tell me when to stop. Yeah, so that needs some pepper. Now bread, carbs, the love of my life. Toast your buns, don't be a heathen. Well, now that you're paired with a good burger, some solidarity, and a great sauce, go kick ass at your next barbecue.